Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coach's Hour and
At the right time.
in the right time zone. It's not 2 a.m. Woohoo!
We're awake.
Um,
And
yeah.
only for the first time, not for the second time. You haven't gone to sleep and woken up again.
Yeah, there was one night that I did pull an all-nighter. That was not a sensible idea.
No, you regretted that, didn't you?
Yeah. I did regret that massively. We were at the airport the next morning and I was like falling asleep, like I'm gonna miss this flight.
I wouldn't have done that when I was young, let alone doing it now.
Yeah. Faith, did you have a question?
Hello, yes. I'd love you to talk through strength and stretching. The question comes from just understanding when should you separate them, like do strength differently from stretching, or do them in the same session, and what you might do before you go running and after you go running, or on a separate day. Is just kind of sorry if it's a very basic question, but it's that a lot of exercises have a bit of both in, and I'm just need a bit of get my bearings on it.
Yeah, of course. And actually I did have a discussion with my physio today about stretching, because I asked him the question, this is just for everyone. I said, can you overstretch? And he basically says you can't really overstretch. You can overstretch a muscle if you push it too far, but in terms of actually like times per week stretching, he was like, you can't really overstretch, because let's be honest, there's not going to be anyone that stretches every single day. He was like, if you're stretching like 3, 4, 5 times a day, then yeah, that's too much. But stretching, you can't really do too much of, if that makes sense. So you can overstretch a muscle where you push it too far, but you can't do too much stretching. You know, he was recommended like 3 sessions a week, and if you're doing 15 to 20 minutes, that's going to be perfect.
But as to where to fit them in, especially static stretching, that would be after your either more intense or longer sessions of running.
Yeah, so going back to your question, Faith, strength and stretching, there's 2 different things. So stretching is stretching the muscles out, so it's helping you to recover from any sort of tension or tightness in your muscles, to help you recover and then sort of be able to run and train effectively after that. So stretching, we recommend, like we said, like 2-3 times a week would be great if you can, 15 to 20 minutes. There's lots of bite-sized sessions in the on-demand section. If you can do 5 to 10 minutes straight after your run, great, but we're all really bad at that. Like at the weekend on Sunday, we did a group run and there was like 2 people that joined us who are not really the sort of like part of any running club. One of them used to be sort of a PT client of mine, and she's not really like run for too long. And at the end, everyone just stopped. All of the seasoned runners just stopped there, standing there. And she was like, is this the part where we should be doing some stretching? I was like, yes, we should. So we're all bad for it. But if you could do 5 to 10 minutes afterwards, even a couple of minutes, just, you know, it's very easy to just finish your run and just carry on with the rest of what you've got going on. So that's stretching. Strength work is different to stretching, and this is where you're just building strength in the muscles for them to become more robust, more stronger, and help you essentially take the load of training later down the line. Strength training can look in many different forms for running, but essentially individually you should be focusing on, like, we can give everyone strength training programs and we used to do strength classes, but then if you look more individually, you should just be focusing on the muscle groups that essentially maybe that are weaker for you. So I would always recommend glute bridges, squats, deadlifts, and lunges as like your staple kind of exercises. But for someone that, and calf raises, sorry. But if you know that maybe your glutes and your calves are weaker areas, then you could potentially do some more exercises to help with that.
Don't necessarily just think about what are weaker parts, think about what are imbalances. So for example, your glutes might not be weak, but you might have a stronger right side to left side, so you need to sort of balance them out.
Yeah, and again, you know, we would recommend 1 session a week minimum, but again, as runners, we're not great for it. So it's just kind of finding your own rhythm and your routine with those. And again, you know, with strength training, it doesn't have to be heavy, super heavy lifting in the gym. It could be that you finish an easy run and you come back and you do a couple of these exercises at home, body weight or with some weights. But again, something is better than nothing. How does that sound, Faith? Have you got any other questions from that?
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. But is that okay to do strength on the same day as running?
I would, if you're going to do it, go with the adage of hard days hard and easy days easy. So if you've got a what you call a hard strength session, do it onto your harder run days. Your muscles are more open to adaptation, and also if you were to do a strength session on an easy day, you're then going to be taking DOMS or muscle soreness into likely to be a harder running day. So you're better off taking all your punishment in one go.
That is really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's great. And yeah, it's definitely like useful to try and group them onto days. But you know, I've been working with another physio as part of like a charity group, and she did a talk recently, and she was like, you know, if for example you're tight for time, like a lot of people are when they're marathon training or just training in general for any distance, and she was like, if you have to do it, she did say probably not on a long run day, but just fit it in when you can. Sometimes like something is better than nothing, essentially. So there we go. So yeah, hope that helps, and hope that helps everyone else.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question quickly? So
Yeah,
if I'm out of breath, I'm just climbing up a hill, walking the dogs. Yeah. Things that well, as for everyone, but I'm particularly busy at the moment on my feet. I'm sort of prepping for lambing, and sort of this time of the year, you know, always gets a bit manic, and we get a lot of problems, especially sort of a couple of weeks before. So trying to fit things in at the moment never quite goes to plan. You know, I have to sort of check the chute first thing in the morning, and then if I find problems that I have to deal with, then the run will get pushed back, or if I can actually get out for a run. Obviously, I'm just sort of a bit concerned about that. And also, I'm doing my average sort of steps at the moment are about 35,000 a day. Just walking dogs and stuff, and obviously with the running. Can I sort of cut back on anything else because of that, or do I sort of use that as my strength training? Because a lot of it is uphill. That makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely is going to keep you stronger. I suppose as well,
Yeah.
on like 35,000 steps is a hell of a lot of steps, but what's that like in comparison to sort of a normal day to day or a month ago? So that plays a part as well. Someone who did 4,000 steps a day and then went to 20,000, that would be massive. So
I normally do about 20 odd thousand steps a day is my average anyway.
I suppose really it's just being more in tune with your body, listening to yourself. Like we spoke about in the Marathon Academy, when you opt for cross training or rest, just make sure you're sort of having the conversation with yourself, like where's the line between fatigue, tiredness, and just not bothering. That's a really bad term, but I don't mean like that. But just don't push yourself too far, because essentially if you do too much and get injured, that's way worse than not doing enough and keeping fit and healthy.
Okay. And sort of in regards to if there's anything I'm not going to do, like that I have to skip, especially just in the next few weeks, what would you sort of say?
Well, marathon training, obviously you need to prioritize your long run. That's your bread and butter. But then look at your week as a whole, but also don't look as a week as an individual week, because like, yes, your tempo run's important, and yes, your speed work's important. But if you were to drop all your easy runs and just be doing speed work, tempo work, and long run, that wouldn't be fantastic. But if you looked at, say, 2 weeks in a row and dropped a tempo from one and a speed from one and an easy day from each, and sort of balance it out like that. But again, we can have that discussion a bit more in the Marathon Academy about where and how you can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Brilliant. Thank you.
It's basically just trying to keep a balance of everything. That's the key.
Yeah. It's only for the sort of the next sort of 5 weeks really that if things get a bit crazy.
And as well, don't then feel guilty if you do have to drop a run, because all of this, you know, there's the term time on feet that we talk about with training. So actually doing all of the lambing and time on feet is actually going to be that is going to be beneficial for you. So yeah, don't then feel guilty if you do have to drop a run or two, because actually all of this walking around will help you for race day.
Brilliant.
Not that you'll be
Thank
walking.
you.
No, of course, but time on feet, as we
Yeah.
time on feet, as we say. Cool.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. We've had a question come in about food,
Good.
carb
I'll
loading.
take this.
So and as well, this is kind of this might be one that we can open up to everyone and find out what you do, so you can find out some different opinions. So Susan has asked, what is everyone eating for their carb loading? Could you have a larger lunch and smaller meal in the evening? My large meal will be pasta. So James, talk through what you do.
So first of all, 100% I go for my larger meal earlier on in the day, especially before a race. It gives your body time to process and digest things, and you're less likely to wake up feeling heavy and foody. One thing I think is really important to realize is when we talk about carb loading, people automatically think they want to stuff their faces essentially full of carbs. With larger meals, we spoke about this again in the Marathon Academy on Monday. Carb loading doesn't mean bigger portions. It means a bigger ratio of carbs on your plate. So swap something out to bring something in. So if your meal is going to weigh X, it still should weigh X, just with less. In this case, for a race, especially a long distance race, probably drop in your fiber and your veg, because that's not going to do any favors at this point. But what also is important to realize, our muscles are fully saturated with glycogen, which is the energy source from carbs, at 500 grams. So anything more than that you consume, your body is then storing as fat anyway. So don't overdo the carbs, which is a common mistake. Don't underdo them, but don't overdo them.
Yeah, essentially what you have to be looking at is kind of like, think about what you would normally eat on a general kind of like day to day in the build up to your long run. And rather than changing the quantity of your food, just change the ratio. So just make it more carb focused in that sense. So you're not consuming lots more calories, just the content of your meals is more carbohydrate based. For a marathon, I would normally start carb loading maybe like Thursday. So I've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I love it because like I love bagels. So I just have loads of bagels, essentially porridge. I love it. And then with a half, I probably would look more sort of like from Friday lunchtime. So just Friday and Saturday, you're just having decent meals. But yeah.
It's also worth looking at the GI index of the carbohydrate, because the higher the number is, the higher sugar the content is, which essentially would give you a rush rather than an even release.
But hopefully
energy.
by now people have figured out what their meals are and what works for them. So yeah, hopefully that helps, Susan. It just, yeah, and don't do yourself disjustice on the second meal in the evening. Still make sure that it's carb focused, but maybe it is just lighter on the stomach so it's easier to digest, and then have your normal breakfast. But yeah, James and I've been doing a lot more research over the last few weeks into nutrition. We've been getting in contact with Talk, the energy sort of gel company, and they've been sending us loads of like research and information. And yeah, it seems like everyone generally does not fuel enough, and there's always more that we could be doing. So it's just, we're just a
conversation me and Kate were having the other day, especially when it comes to long distance racing, is the danger of under fueling versus over fueling. Can't kind of think of where I was going to summarize this, but essentially, if you under fuel, you might not know about it until it's too late. The chances of you over fueling during a race or before a race is very unlikely, because you're probably going to start feeling sick or stuffed before it becomes a problem. So especially when it comes to the marathon, we've all trained very hard, and you're all training very hard. It'd be almost a bit foolish to be under fueled and let that be the reason you don't hit your goals.
Has anyone got any other sort of things that they'd like to share in terms of their experiences, what's worked with them for carb loading? Don't have to, but just opening up the floor. That's fine. No problem.
Covered it well.
Yeah, we covered it well. So moving on to the next question, it's coming from Sabrina, that on the podcast we alluded to potentially there'd be a possible retreat in the future. Unfortunately, at this stage, we haven't got too much information. It was just where
drawing board stage.
We literally just had an idea. We got really excited, so we mentioned it on the podcast. the idea came about a little bit. We have always had in our mind about doing a retreat, and we were really kind of looking at doing one. But then obviously 2020 happened and just kind of put a stop to things. So I think to start off with, we're looking at potentially just doing a 1 day or a weekend thing in the UK. In the future, we would love to go abroad, but again, we just need to do our research with that, because we were chatting to Georgie, who obviously is the yoga teacher. And when you take things abroad, then comes another cost and a different element. So yeah, we think we're going to start off with something, a 1 day thing or a weekend, where it's going to be
balance of nutrition, running, yoga, fun, basically.
So yeah, more information to come when we really kind of figure out when and where and what can be done. So keep.
Cool, thank you. I was already planning, if it's about a month before the marathon, I just can say, coach told me to go a weekend away about fitness and all of this. I was already trying to find the excuse for September.
It won't be as well. It won't be like a really like heavy focused day where you're going to leave feeling really fatigued either. What we want it to be is kind of more sort of about
fun and leaving inspired, really.
Yeah, like fun, informative, that so you take things away from the day rather than being like a beasted retreat where you like worked really hard.
That can come though.
And then as well, just it more being like a community thing, so sort of bringing the Running Hub community together and things like that. So right, next question is also from Sabrina. So for the last 2 months, you've been more consistent. I stretch more and Eloise is heavier. I've noticed my form has improved. What is the main factors? Strength, consistency, or less tightness from stretching, or all the three equally? Has she been doing drills more recently?
Consistency is the key to everything, really.
Okay, so what's your take on adding upper body strength so that actually the arms are more like stronger, fitter or something?
Well, your posture really comes more from sort of like your shoulders. So not necessarily doing arm weights is going to affect your form. But if you've been doing your drills more consistently, if you've been doing like work around the hips and the core area, that's kind of really where your form stems from. So
yeah, and we've added the strides into your routine as well, Sabrina, and that's going to work a lot towards that.
Okay.
So essentially, yeah, and maybe as well, like if you did have any tightness in top region, that may have affected it. But essentially, yeah, everything. There's probably not one underpinning factor, which is like, yes, that's what's helped your form. It would have been all of that. But most definitely, if you've been doing any sort of like core work, I've always said like quite a few years ago, I went to go and watch Manchester Marathon. And this was back when I was actually doing the core classes in person. And we saw quite a few people go past us. And I was literally standing at 26 miles. So everyone was hobbling, running, or just trying to get their way to the line. And what I did notice, and this wasn't just like me being biased, but every one of like the people that did attend core class regularly, their form was definitely a lot better in the latter stages. Even if they were like at a crawling stage where they were just literally like shuffling along, their form was a lot better than a lot of other people that I knew didn't do core stuff. So definitely core work and drills is going to be a massive enhancer for form.
Just sort of like rereading through your message. I mean, if you're more consistent with stretching, you're going to be more elasticated and you're going to be able to stand up properly. If you're more consistent with your running's going to become easier. You're going to get fitter. If you're doing your strength work, you're getting stronger. So it's literally is consistency and keeping up with all of it. That's the key. They all play a part.
Yeah, thank you. And Susan's to add on, so really like rice cakes. As apparently I suggested that before. Yeah, I'm partial to a rice cake, especially one like covered in yogurt or chocolate. They're good. Fab. Is there anything anyone else would like to chat through?
Sorry, I have another question then.
Go for it.
What are the benefits? I know you had done a video on it and understand some of the benefits of it, but what are the benefits of heel training? And at which point do you actually start putting more heel training in it? in your basically training plans?
Twofold. If you're training for a hilly race, you would need to add hill training, first of all. And hill training essentially is strength and form as the two main factors. And then also downhill training as well plays its part in that. But yeah, I mean, if you've not got a hill specific race, you would put hills maybe into a base phase. But similar to lots of different sort of training, there's 1,000,001 different types of sessions, and you can't fit everything into one period and one phase. So hill training is an element of strength.
And when you go up and down, where do you look? Because now I follow the video on Instagram and I look where I need to when it's flat. But when you go up and down, do you look at your feet or do you still look at up?
Never look at your feet, always forwards, whether you're going up or down. The common mistake when you're going up is to look up to the top of the hill, but you don't want to do that because that's changing your whole body form. You still want to look forward. So you're keeping everything straight, hips aligned, and the same when you're going down, still looking forward. The main difference when you're going downhill is you want your back leg to be almost in a recovery phase and your front leg to be driving forward and not braking.
Definitely doing it wrong then. Okay.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I'm sure there'll be some people in the group that naturally do hill training just from where they live.
Yeah.
Cool.
Vanessa.
Vanessa, yeah. And Helen, who lives in Wales, she says that some of the long runs are like mountainous.
Hey, there's some underpasses and bridges in Milton Keynes which can be pretty big.
Yeah, Susan was asking, we were on the phone earlier, and Susan was asking about the Milton Keynes 20 race, and I was trying to describe it. And I was like, if you're from Milton Keynes, you're not really going to have fond words about it because you just run around Milton Keynes. But I did warn Susan about Campbell Park, the last few miles, and Beacon Hill.
I don't think Beacon Hill's fun. I think it's the drag up to Beacon Hill.
Both. I've said to Susan, it's like, I don't think until you get there, Susan, you won't realise the...
Grant asked me about putting Milton Keynes half in March as a target race, and I was like, probably not the best idea.
Yeah. First part of it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just the last few miles. So when you're struggling in a half.
Just when you need a hill, isn't it? 12.5 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
I miss Milton Keynes.
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah.
You'll take Beacon Hill any day.
It's all relative, Vanessa. It's all relative.
I'm looking forward to doing the half marathon there. This stuff's like flattish.
Yeah, no, it is.
No hill in the May half marathon.
Brilliant. Sounds good.
As well, Susan hasn't done Cambridge. Has anyone got any tips for Cambridge if they did it last year, from what they can remember?
Don't anyone be shy on the start line. Go where you think you should go. If not, a row further forward. It's a busy, narrow start. Like everyone's on the start line to do their thing. Without being rude, let people go past you. Don't be spending a mile and a half weaving and elbows out. Get involved. Don't be scared.
Yeah, you're going to be in your waved sort of pens. So put yourself in a position where you think you need to be in that pen. But yeah, the first part of it and the last part of it does go through the city centre, so the paths are narrower. So I have had the conversation with a few people over the last few days and just said, like, try not to push too hard then in the first part. If like you find yourself in a position where you are kind of boxed in, don't waste energy by trying to weave and push through. Just kind of try to hold where you are, knowing that you'll be able to make up the time later in the race. If you start weaving, you're going to use energy more quickly.
Silly. And it is a very even flat course, so if your race plan dictates so, get out on pace and hold it. Go for it. There's no parts where you're going to be tougher or easier. Just stay true and go. Exciting.
Everyone that I spoke to is very excited about it.
And if it's anything like last year, make sure everyone brings lots of clothes to wrap up afterwards for cheering people in, because it was bloody freezing.
I think it's going to be cold again this weekend, isn't it?
Talking about cheering, will you put a crew for London Marathon cheering, or
we will do,
be there?
When we get a bit closer.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we'll be there. We're going to be in Manchester. We're going to be in London and at Milton Keynes. Although James is doing the relay, but I am not running the half or the full. So we'll be there to do a cheer squad for that one.
And it's 2 laps, it'll be easier to cheer this year.
Totally. Fab. Any other questions or any other discussion points? We don't have to use the whole hour. We don't have to, but if you've got anything, do ask away. Get signed up, paid for the half. We'll all be there. Or if anything, maybe we'll get lots of people doing the 5K rocket. It's normally a good one.
I'll be cheering you all on from my sunbed in Morocco.
Oh, lovely.
Sorry, I have one more. I see Faith is on, so I have a question that then you can ask and everyone knows. What is the difference between the Running Hub community and the Running Hub running club? And how do we join the Running Hub running club? Then
Okay.
Faith, I don't need to answer your email.
Okay, so the Running Hub community is everything here. It's the
Coaching and membership,
coaching, membership,
program.
everything like that. It's what it is. The Running Hub Running Club is a separate yet supporting entity. From a Sport England government point of view, it has to be separate from the business. It's an England Athletics registered club, which basically allows you to race, get your discounts, be insured on your races, and be associated with us as a club, basically. I will pop the registration and renewal form in the WhatsApp group again now because time is ticking, but it's also in the resources section on Circle. Hopefully that answers all the questions.
Yeah, and only the running hub running club athletes needs to sign the code of conduct guidelines because these are the EA guidelines.
Yeah.
That's
And I forgot the most important thing. If you want to run the London Marathon and be in chance for a club ballot, you need to be an England Athletics registered first claim member.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Could you talk through ways of approaching a mix of run walk for the London Marathon? I don't know what proportion that I will do, but I think I may need to include some walking because I've been working with a bit of injury and I'm hoping that I'm okay, but obviously it's affecting my training as well. It's my first marathon and I'm 60. So I think I have to anticipate that I'm going to do a proportion of walking, like 30% or something. But I'd just like your advice on, you know, is it 25 minutes run, 5 minutes walk, or 5 minutes run, 1 minute walk, or just different approaches that from your experience?
So first of all, the most important thing is sort of understanding your plan from the off, and that's regardless if it's run, walk, pace, whatever it may be, and starting at that plan. The worst mistake that people do with run walking is decide I'm going to run the first half and then fall into my run walk plan. Like, it's too late, then your plan will change. So use training to practice it. So whether that's, as you say, 25 minutes and 5 minutes, or 3 minutes and 1 minute, or 3/4 of a mile, 400 meters, whatever it may be, practice, see what works for you. And then when it comes to race day, stick to your plan. Do not change your plan on race day because you think, oh, actually, I'm a bit excited, I'm going to run a bit further, because it will affect you in the second half, similar to somebody who wants to run it all the way, going a little bit faster because they feel good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I have, this is not unfortunately, I have worked with a couple of people who have done run walk approaches. And what I have found is that what one works for one person doesn't work for the other. So unfortunately, I can't give you a set answer because it's down to the individual and what they feel comfortable with, especially because run walking can take a toll on like your hips, or like, you know, it's just that some people get different rhythms as well with their running. So some people, you know, I've seen people do like sort of like 1 minute on, 1 minute off, like it, you know, not from coaching with me, but just in like different running settings. Some people do really short intervals where it's like 90, whereas then some people do like 10 minutes running, 1 minute walking. But the best thing, like James says, is whatever you're going to do is practice it in training so that you know that it works for you, rather than getting to race day like, oh, I might dabble with a bit of this, I might dabble with that. But also, if you're going to walk, you've got to do it from the start, because again, it doesn't work if you say I'm going to run 10 miles and then do the run walking. You're going to put yourself into a state of fatigue, and then it just means you're going to be doing a lot more walking than running.
Yeah, and regardless of your time, then your mental state as you get to the end is going to be disappointing, because you're going to feel you've not achieved what you wanted to achieve, essentially. So come up with your plan, however that may be. Like, your plan is your plan, so be proud and execute that. That's the most important thing.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so just, and as well, then maybe on your shorter runs you can dabble with the different times, find what you like, and then apply it into the long runs.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Because I guess this isn't really. So when I did my first and only ultra marathon, what I did find difficult is that I trained for London, and then I had a period of time where I then trained for the ultra. And what I found is I was like, oh yeah, the ultra is only 8 kilometers more than the marathon. But the difficulty is that when I went out for my first training run, because I hadn't practiced the run walking, I found that more difficult, that long run with the walking, more of a challenge, because I wasn't used to it. So it's just getting used to that in your training, then taking it into the marathon. Otherwise you're not going to be accustomed to it. So yeah, hopefully that helps, and you can find the right formula which works for you, and then take that through to race day.
Thank you.
And also, there's no shame in walking in a marathon. I had to walk in the last 2 miles of my marathon PB because my legs just didn't want to move.
Especially in something like London, you'll have people walking from the off anyway, straight away.
Yeah, and I heard you mention your age. It's not about age, it's not about size, it's not about any of this. It's really about you. And there are people that walk faster, there are people that just run, and there are people that walk faster than people who run. So it's really about what you want to feel comfortable with and just be confident. I'm slower than the 85-year-old record for London. And I'm 34. It's not about age. Yeah.
And I think London's one of the most inclusive runs for that, is that London Marathon isn't essentially like, there is a race element to it with the elites at the front, because London is one of the world majors, so it's going to bring in those elites. But what London celebrates is everyone doing it for a reason. And it gets me every single time, the BBC, when they do all of when they stop people at Cutty Sark, and I do think, though, I'm like, it's really unfair to stop these people at Cutty Sark and start interviewing them. This is why they're running. They've got to get started again. If they're there for a couple of minutes, that might break their rhythm. But yeah, London isn't about doing it for time, it's about the achievement and
experience.
The spirit of London, as they say. It's about you running it for your personal reasons, whether that is for a time, whether that's for distance, whether that's for charity, whether that's for someone else. So yeah, just with London, it's
soak the atmosphere. Don't worry about being slow or fast or whatever. Maybe you're too fast, maybe because you still have to go 26 miles, but don't get too excited either. No, but the thing is, it's really about, like, for example, I think it was mile 20 when this 83-year-old guy overtook me, and on his t-shirt it was written 83 and still going. I just felt really inspired. I wasn't feeling, oh, I'm so slow. It's just because it's just the atmosphere, and London is so unique. It's just about you soaking everything and just enjoying yourself. The time is the time. You still get the medal, and you still get like that. The thing is, if you're not running for championship place, then just enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
amazing. Love London.
Can I ask a quick question?
Cool.
Sorry. Obviously going out to Cuff Off and running out there, I take a hydration pack and use that in the race, or are they banned? Because obviously I was going to put hydration tablet in there so keep hydrated because it's going to be hot.
You can do, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't
wasn't
think.
sure if they were banned.
No, it's fine.
Um,
There is quite good hydration on course from what I remember. And
Okay.
are you doing the half?
Yeah, but I've got to incorporate my long run because
Okay.
obviously I've got a slight hip injury that, I've got to get sorted this weekend. So I have to do miles before and after. So it's
Okay.
just more for that, really.
I mean, keep a check on the weather, but when you say it's hot for hydration, what temperature worries you? Is there like a threshold? Because
Well, obviously, because it doesn't bother me how hot it is. I'm used to running out there when it's like 30 odd degrees.
okay.
But because this is longer than a 5K that I'd normally do out there, and just don't know what to take with me. That's all.
yeah, no, a hydration pack will be fine.
Yeah.
A lot of people like the hydration vest because you not only can you take the water, you can store like your gels and bits like that in there. So
You could always, if you're going to do miles before, like leave something somewhere and do your run without a vest, and then
Yeah.
think again, and then decide whether you want to take the vest with you on the 13 miles or whether you need to. But essentially, whatever is comfortable, and that's not necessarily in wearing, as in comfortable as in
Yeah.
what makes you feel comfortable having the hydration with you or being dependent on the course.
Yeah, I'm just a bit worried about getting dehydrated. That's all.
yeah, I guess like I'm just trying to think from memory, like have I seen many people with hydration packs? But that's probably because a lot of people that do from the start where we go from, it's 5K, 10K and half, and not many, and the marathon starts at a different location.
Yeah.
I'm sure probably a lot of the marathoners will take the hydration packs.
Yeah.
We don't see them start, but yeah, just no, the pack will be fine. I don't think has anyone else heard of a race before that
No,
like you
but
can't
also-
swim? So yeah, it's just whatever you feel comfortable in.
If you're worried
Mm.
about dehydration, think beforehand and make sure electrolytes and you're hydrated and stuff like from days before, Friday, Saturday, and put yourself
The
in the best.
cocktails count.
You know what?
Speaking to the wrong person.
I'm so excited. So there's a place called Sweet 48. You've got to check it out when you're there because the food is great. We had like our welcome party there like a few days
That's the one
before.
next to the Olympic Lagoon, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're always in there because we stay at the Avanti across the road.
Yeah. So they do this like and my mum still like thinks about it because it was so good. They do, and if anyone likes a porn star martini, they do like a frozen one, so it's like a frozen daiquiri, but it's so good. So I said to James, I was like, when we get there, if the weather's clear and there's a sunset, going to Sweet 48 and getting a drink.
And I said that's no problem as long as you PB in Cambridge.
Fair enough. We'll probably be in there. We'll land and we'll go straight there on the Wednesday anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, take the pack.
Yep.
It should be fine. I think they do like sponges on the course as well. So
Yeah,
there's
I was just trying to think what electrolytes to do on the course, but I think they've changed up their suppliers quite a bit. But
Yeah, they've got like all it says on there. The only stuff that they've said is for the marathon. It's all like Martin
Yeah.
stuff. That's
Yeah.
what they're giving out and stuff. And it's like, well, we've said that for the marathon, but nothing for the half.
yeah, they
Let me
don't
have a
tend
look.
to.
And it's mainly flat as well, isn't it? Because you've just got that hill coming up from the harbour.
Yeah.
no.
There is one
So
hill
if
in the
you-
middle.
You
but-
know when you're coming from the airport
Yeah,
and you get to a roundabout and you do a left, you go down the hill. And
the
then you
one
turn
with the
right.
boat on.
Yes.
Yes, just before that. So you go up that hill for about a mile. It's quite deceptive because it doesn't necessarily look uphill, but all of a sudden you realize your legs are burning and your pace is dropping. But you do a U-turn at the top and come straight back down, and then essentially it's downhill. and way to finish.
It's good practice for Brighton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as big as the hill, but then it's up to
Yeah,
Hove.
yeah, we won't talk about that. That's
But-
stressing me out, that hill. No, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Is that
Be
still
good.
part of the course? That
I'm
one.
not sure.
Yeah, Susan's doing Brighton as well.
Yeah, just waiting for the new map to come out.
Yeah. So Susan was saying that lots of people, problem being part of a Susan's put hill, Brighton.
No, there's no hill, Susan. Absolutely none. You're absolutely fine.
There's high 5 electrolytes hydration on the course at
Okay, cool.
6K, 6K and 15K.
Okay.
And
Probably-
there's also water at 3, 6, 9, 11 and 15.
Oh, that's fine. And there'll be plenty there. I wouldn't need to take it then.
I
Mm.
can't see any cocktail stations, unfortunately. there.
Oh, what?
We'll have to find them on the way back to get hydrated.
Yeah.
again. Shocking
Have
that.
have you done this before, Hayley?
No. Well, I was supposed to do it when COVID hit. Our flight got cancelled.
They do have free beer at the end.
I know, but if it's like Brighton, it's non-alcoholic. I was
Oh.
not impressed.
Oh, no,
I can
it's
confirm it's
not.
definitely alcoholic.
That's fine then. That's fine. As long as it's something very alcoholic and cold, it will be fine.
Well, a few years ago, and I don't like beer, and then we were there with a few of the girls, and we bought a bottle of prosecco. We'd done really well. So James was drinking, a few of the boys were drinking the beers. We got a bottle of prosecco, and then I called my dad because I'd done really. I think I was like third lady. Called my dad, but by the time that we'd finished and forgot about the 2-hour time difference, he was still in bed, and I was there with a medal and a trophy,
Love that.
drinking prosecco.
Nice. See, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. See, I've been talking about alcohol loads, but I genuinely have not drunk. We barely drunk in Thailand. Everyone's like really shocked, but I think I drank twice in the whole 6 weeks.
I'm not a big drinker. Like, I haven't had loads in ages, but with my friend that I'm going away with, we are. She's a bit of a plonky, so I do tend to tag along and say, okay, I'll have another one, then I'll have another one. Not
I
good
think-
before a race, I know, but I'll be fueled on that race by alcohol, I think.
Yeah, it's all about the setting, isn't it?
So Susan's put Hill, Brighton, question mark. It does still say map coming soon. So
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
I feel really bad now because I was on the phone to Susan earlier saying that Brighton was all right.
There's 2
It is
hills.
all right. I
One
love
hill
it.
drag and one wall. That's like
Yeah.
So
I mean,
one of
I've done
them's like
Brighton
in-
before and
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And that's why I chose to do the Brighton Marathon and not any others.
Well, there is one, isn't there, like in the first part of the course, like in the town.
yeah, you literally turn the corner, it's like a walls in front of you.
But they've said, they said now that it's going to be wider and flatter at the beginning. So I don't know.
And also as well, they're not going as far out, isn't there? Like, do you know when you come down to the seafront for the first time and go out and come back?
Yeah, you don't go out. The
It's
bits
far.
that change is you've got more around Brighton town itself at the beginning, and the halfway mark is at said place. And then the rest of it is just around Hove and Flat. So you don't do the what do they call it? Power station.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're not going along past the beach huts or anything. You're literally coming back out of Hove, and the last 2 miles is all on the seafront. But everyone out supporting was great. It was brilliant atmosphere all the way along.
We've been a few times. James has done it once, and we've been there to support a couple of times, and it is always good just because
Get around.
you can get around quite easily, so you can be supported.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, Susan. It is a great course.
When we have a look at the map, we can talk through it.
Yeah.
Faith just asked a question: with calf races, should the leg be straight or bent, or do some of each? So essentially, the knee should be what we call easy knees. So not like bent, but like a little loose,
Soft.
soft. Hopefully that makes sense.
Thanks.
Do you want to do a demonstration, Katie?
No. Do you want to do a demonstration?
If Daisy's got her hand up, I think she wants to demonstrate.
She's saying no. Okay, awesome. Anything from anyone else? Like I said at the start, once one person says something, look, we filled 50 minutes without even knowing it. We had no pre-questions.
It's got loads of people thinking, well, I come into Cyprus for a race and cocktails now. Aren't we?
Okay.
Sorry if you hear a lot.
I've missed the first part of the conversation.
Yeah.
The New York results start to ballot results start to drop. So
Oh, brilliant.
it looks like we're getting a running hub party in New York. So.
Amanda has had brilliant luck in the last few
Thierry
years.
also, he got his everything sorted on Tuesday. So
Yeah, but Amanda, she's done Chicago. Now she's doing London. Now she's doing New York. Brilliant. I have to get her into the rest of them. get them into the rest of the
Tokyo
stars. Yeah, like Sadie on her 5th and Pedro going for his 6th. How exciting. What's really nice is everyone else is really excited for them in the hub too. That's what I love about the community. It's just like,
And with the time difference, we'll be able to see them finish and get their results before we all start on Sunday. in
they'll
our
be
various
finished like
races.
before some of us are waking up, maybe.
When
No,
is the start for Cambridge? What's
Uh,
the
Sunday.
start?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't checked my.
9:30.
Yeah, I was going to say 9.
9:30. Okay.
That's
So if you want to go for your 6 stars, not that I'm going to, but just as a question, do you have to register, or does the fact that you have a finishing result for each of them automatically qualify you?
It qualifies you. Abbott's obviously get the results, but I believe as you do your 6th one, you need to notify them that you're doing it if you want your medal and stuff prepared for you at the end.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Abbott's is the company that does it all. So they have like a portal, so you can create an account, and then all of your results start going in there. So
See where it is.
yeah, I don't know too much about it.
How many are you on, Julie?
Oh,
Every
only
time
one.
two?
I have no intention. I have no intentions of. I mean, seriously, can you imagine me qualifying for Boston? I think probably not. But I just wondered whether you actually had to. It was like part of a whole process, or whether just by completing and having a finishing time for each of the events would be enough for you to claim your medal.
Yeah, no, you'd have to let them know so that they would they'd be ready for you. I
Yeah.
have seen in the past a few people have like a little thing on their back, say like, I'm running my 6th star today. So
Yeah, there were quite a few of those at London.
yeah, whenever I went past someone, I congratulated them, and I was like, hopefully it's not too early. Congratulations. Yeah, no, it's really nice. James seems to
You
be
probably
ready.
just scroll it, you finish it, you walk it, you crawl it, you do everything you can.
Yeah, exactly.
If
Yeah.
it's the 6th one, you finish it.
Yeah. James seems to be registering for
I'm resetting my password.
okay.
So yeah, when you have done one, you get an Abbott's review. So it shows, like for me, it shows that I've done 3, the average time, and it's been
Okay.
so
And Susan's put, I'm so excited that Sydney might get added to the list. I don't think that anyone that's got their 6th star will be
could you imagine
excited.
if it gets added between Sadie finishing Tokyo and starting New York?
I don't think she's yeah, I think she's very aware that that may be the case, but I don't think Pete's too happy about that.
Yeah. Julie as well. So if you hadn't,
I don't think Pete's wallet is very keen on that idea.
if for some reason it didn't pick it up, Julie, if you see here, like it's got my London result, and then
You
London,
can't
like
see, you can't
oh,
see it. Look.
got my London
Yeah.
result under here. I can't see now. So Tokyo, like I can claim a result to find it if that was the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
There you go.
I would one day like to do all 6.
I think I would just be permanently stuck on 5, and I think that might just be depressing. So
No,
Unless I
because the
get really
thing is
old.
now, I mean, you know me. No, now you can get also, if you've got 5, you can go in this ballot, like for Boston also, if you already have 5, so then you have a chance to get your 6th star. So they do
Oh.
that for all location. If you have 5, you can put basically yourself in a ballot to how to get the 6th one. It's not about time, it's not about any of that.
That's interesting. Thank you.
Isn't that through Abbott as well?
Yeah, it's true, Abbott. And then, I mean, I'm trying to get there, so that's it. And then if you go thing like sports store, you need about 2 if you want to qualify for Tokyo, so that you get on their list to actually get spot for Tokyo. And you need 3 or 4 already with them to get a spot on Boston.
Okay. Cool.
I might have emailed their sales rep a couple of weeks back. And that was the answer I got. After which, my husband, we didn't think I could finish a marathon. So actually, you're still young. You will get to the Boston qualifier one day. I was like, okay, thank you for having faith in me.
Dream big, aim high. Love it.
We just work on the consistency for now.
Susan,
Yes.
sports tour let you do Boston without time. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Well, that's it. There's never like the same journey for everyone because everyone qualifies or gets ballot spots in different ways. There's not a recommended pathway, is it? So just if you get the opportunity to do one and you want to do it, even if it's one of the 6, then just keep going. And then if you really want to, you'll find the right pathway to do it.
I don't think my legs are interested in finding the right pathway right now.
Well, isn't there like there is like a super halves, isn't
There
there?
should be like a 6-star 10K, shouldn't there? That'd be nice.
See, so much more achievable.
Well, they've done that with the super halves, and then let's make our own. Let's pick some like really
The running
nice.
6 stars. It's Milton Keynes Park Run, Milton Keynes Park Run,
Well, you've got like
Battersea 5K.
has done a 10K in another country where it was a good, like we've done Valencia 10K. That's like not too far. Nice location.
Amsterdam.
There we go.
Barcelona, good one.
Barcelona.
There's a few in France.
The European 10K Running Hub Tour. See, easy. We can make our own. That's it. We've got a new business plan now. The Running Hub 6 stars, and then we can get affiliated with all these races. We'll be the new Abbott. Sorted.
It's very tentative looks.
I'm trying.
Dream big and high.
Or we just stick to the 5K out with parkrun and just tick off all the challenges. Okay, awesome. Right, we'll wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Good conversations, good chats. Good luck to everyone at the weekend. If you're running, training, racing, supporting, whatever you're doing, good luck. And we'll catch you all next week.
Yeah, have a great weekend, guys.
Thanks very much. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.